Chris Cote, part of being the executive producer, apart from hitting some of the noises on the computer, is that you got to corral your talent. Your father is coming in here again, winded, not ready for a segment. Stugotz is not even here because I'm sure he's outside making his fingers yellow, smoking heaters. I want to relive, Billy.
How terrible my dad was to start that segment?
I want to relive what the University of Miami women's basketball coach was hearing because Greg Cote didn't realize while talking to us that she could hear
Not
everything.
just Greg. Not just Greg.
All of us?
Yeah, so this is what happened. Katie Meier joined a little bit early. Well, she's probably on time. I think we were late. It doesn't matter. So our segment ended, and then, Greg and Chris were out in the penalty box. So we were in a very short break, and then we were going to get going. But the mics were still on. So Katie is in there, joins the Zoom. Everything's, kind of settled. And then Stugotz, just out of nowhere, rat-a-tat-tat, just weed, heaters, LSD. And then we're like, turn the microphones off. So the microphones were then turned off. And we're like, you got to turn those microphones off because, the coach is here. You got to, everybody on their best behavior.
Was he telling stories? Or did he just say those
heaters,
items?
LSD. He was just reciting vices.
It was, I don't know the context in which they were used. It was just like a thing where I just heard buzzwords and ran and told Tony, turn off the microphone. So we turned off all the microphones. So then everybody comes back in. Greg, are you good?
Yeah, what do you mean?
So anyways.
Well, you're leaning away from the microphone. Like, it's something very strange is happening to you. This is a maximum Greg Cote Tuesday here today.
Okay.
You didn't come to the meeting. You don't need meetings. You're disoriented. I haven't seen you like this since you came in on pills. You were on pills. And the lights.
Prescribed.
That was late night.
And the lights were disorienting you.
No, I'm not the least bit disoriented.
Billy was telling a story.
Well, no, I was worried because I was worried for him because he kind of just leaned back and I wasn't sure if he had his headphones on and if this was a thing that he didn't know we were doing on air. So I was genuinely concerned.
Billy, I was riveted. I was hanging on every word.
Yeah.
It wasn't
looked
my
like you fell asleep.
It did.
You did that thing where you had to catch yourself.
In Greg's defense, that chair is a weird chair. Sometimes you lean back, it goes all the way back to the wall. Sometimes it doesn't give at all.
Yeah, and ever since Jeff Passan sat on it last week, it's gotten even weirder.
I knew he was holding on to a resentment. I knew it. This is part of his. This is how he lashes out because Jeff Passan took his seat for 30 minutes last week. I frankly think, Chris, that he'd be better in the seat next to you because this seat has become disorienting for an old man.
So Tony's going in there?
No.
Hey, Dano.
No, that's not what's happening.
I could do better than Greg Cote at paying attention.
That may be true.
Billy, what was Greg Cote saying that Katie Meier was hearing while Greg Cote didn't know that the coach was listening?
Okay, great. So then we turn off the microphones to protect you guys from saying God knows how that conversation started. I believe, and there was a correction here.
Yeah, this was Stugotz's top 5 things that he's done to his body. He was sort of workshopping in between. Oh, we'll get there. But...
Right, the top 5 things I've done to my body in my 20s that make me unhealthy today.
Correct. Now, Katie doesn't have this context, so she just hears weed, heaters, LSD, which is a very weird start.
Yeah.
You just come off of, making
What
it
do you
to
think
the
it was,
Elite
vegetables?
Eight.
I mean...
Yeah. And then we get to Greg Cote.
So then we're sitting there, and Greg and Chris are coming back in. So we're gonna get started. So I go, Tony, are the mics on for when we get started? So we don't have a situation where we start where the microphones are off, right? And then he's like, yeah, the microphones are on. And Greg, I don't know if he knows Katie's there, if he doesn't know Katie's there.
He didn't.
Immediately says to you guys can ask her about that whole NIL mess. I don't want to get into that. With her sitting there, and then I say in Dan's headphones, she can hear all of this. Like, she's heard everything that you guys have been saying. She's been sitting in the Zoom.
And then we tell you that she can hear it. You go, I'm fine if Kate can hear it. And then in my head, in his headsets, I go, it's Katie. And then he responds as if I said that out loud. Like, I could call her whatever I want.
No, not
Kate,
what
can
he
I
said.
call you Kate?
He said, I've known Kate for a long time. Her friends call her Kate or whatever. And then she totally bailed him out and said, oh, yeah, like my friends and family call me Kate, so it's fine.
When she texts me and emails me, she refers to herself as Kate. So that's not an issue. May I say something in my defense?
Hold on just a second. The executive producer's timing is a little off today.
I was just waiting for midway through a sentence. I was just waiting. Okay.
Well done.
Your Honor.
Get off my plane.
I have to defend myself, okay? The reason, and consider this.
I need to explain. We'll get to this in a second. I just need to explain to the people that might not understand. I don't know which part of the library Chris Cote is accidentally wandering into, but that is Harrison Ford, I think, is the president of the United States.
Yeah, on Air Force One.
On Air Force One, telling someone, a hijacker of some sort, a threat of some sort, to get off his plane. That's not the sound I was looking for.
You got it right, though, Dan. That's right.
The reason.
Get off my plane.
Get off my lawn is more like it. Okay.
Hold on. We need the loser game show sound. It's just a little slow.
You got to cue that up.
He'll pick it up.
I'm
He's
only getting
auditioning.
started.
He's auditioning.
Just need reps, man.
Yes, you just need some reps. You'll speed it up. He's a little slow.
Okay.
He yelled out an obscenity when he did it.
He's very
You
slow.
and your dad.
I want to explain myself. I really do. I want to explain myself, and this is like a little this is a little instructive lesson for the show, for your program here, okay? The reason I didn't know Katie was on is that I'm not in Zoom. And may I say in all candor,
Because you were late.
when we have a guest
Because
in
you were
Zoom,
because you were late.
and I'm not in Zoom,
Because you were late.
I can't see the guest.
Because you were late.
How was that because I was late?
You didn't get in on the Zoom. You didn't come in. You came in the middle of the show.
Me and Dan are in the Zoom.
We were doing the show.
Right.
You didn't get in because you were late.
I'm
Again,
looking at my email right now. There's no Zoom link. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
Yeah, it's the same Zoom link every week.
It's
Every
the
week.
same email.
every single
I don't
week.
see it.
I'll forward it.
You got it last
It's
time.
okay.
You.
It
You're-
doesn't
at least
matter.
you're rescuing the show
It's
now.
fine.
With
We're all
with the
friends
content.
here.
Again, you didn't need the meeting. Didn't need it because you're so good at
No,
this.
I mean, it's...
It's okay.
wrong.
Okay, well put.
We're
Really
good.
honed in
Yeah.
on the meeting, though. I mean,
Well, I've just this is happening because I look, man. I'm not used to the meetings either, but we've got chaos around here. We don't have an executive producer.
Whoa.
We're auditioning on air for executive producers. We've hired
A+ so far?
unpopularly David Sampson because the business side, like we're running a business around here, and it's just total chaos.
Get off my plane.
And I can't trust that we're going to competently do things because I got people who don't come to meetings and their son who don't hit the right button at the right time. Billy, is there anything else?
It's fine. No, it's fine. We're all fine here. The point was, and Greg's right. He couldn't see that, Katie was there. So it wasn't a great spot for him. It was just an incredible introduction for our show to Katie Meier today with, weed, LSD heaters, and then you can ask her about that entire mess because I don't want to.
Greg, I sent you the Zoom so you have them, okay?
Okay.
Save that email.
By the way, I feel like I should know the answer. How did that happen? Because I thought that the Cavender twins were suspended, but then they played. So is that just like regular season suspension?
I wanted to ask her those questions at the end, but you saw that my timing was off because you may have heard me giggling because she was
You were
talking and then
giggling.
I tried to talk, and it's one of it is yes, we have around here a sound when we're trying to talk to her. When we get the timing wrong, that is the sound I want everyone to hear. This is his greatest strength as an executive producer. This is the sound he helpfully makes in the background, and sometimes I don't know if this has ever been heard on air, but I feel it stab my side every time when there is talking over somebody around here. Multiple times you're trying to get in, and Chris Cote helpfully offers.
So comforting.
Your dad is now officially mad. I know him well enough to know when your dad gets really mad and isn't. You are upset at us now because you didn't come to the meeting.
Quit saying that. Meeting schmeeting. The reason I'm upset is that I am telling you something that is legitimately true. When you have a guest in Zoom and I am not in Zoom to see him or her, I'm hamstrung. I don't know that Katie was in the studio.
But Dad, this
waiting to
involves
go on.
reading the room. Like you are just like it has to be like slapped in the face. Like, hey, Katie's here. Don't say anything. Like we're having her at 9:15.
No, I didn't know that.
All right, I'm just saying.
Well,
See, that's what I
we
mean.
mentioned it at the meeting.
Oh, the meeting. The almighty meeting. Oh, I'm sorry.
Talking to the
Excuse me. The meeting. How many times have I asked you, move your studio closer to the Davie Plantation area? And you don't do it. I mean, the traffic is
No,
getting
we
worse.
are.
You
We
know
are
that.
going to do it. We are presently.
Well, slightly
We're,
close.
no,
Okay,
well,
well,
we're in the middle of moving studios. It's been very complicated. It's one of the very many difficult business things we're doing around here. Barstool tried to steal some space from us. We had to nudge them out of the way because Barstool and Portnoy are trying to take our corner in Miami. I saw you, Billy. You're trying to become a food influencer. I saw you at the ballpark.
I dipped my toe in the food influencing game. I'm not ready to dive in, but we had there was a food influencer event yesterday that I was a part of, and I went to kind of check that situation out. And I saw something there that I thought Chris couldn't make it. I saw something there that I thought that Chris would be insanely jealous of at the ballpark. So one of the new offerings this year at Lone Depot Park, home of the Marlins, is something called Pardon My Cheesesteak. And it's a cheesesteak stand that Pardon My Take has inside the ballpark.
Name.
In the Miami ballpark?
It's a good name for,
it's there.
For a product.
This is our space.
Lone Depot
This
Park.
is our turf.
What about your product? What will we name your product? Are you gonna? We were.
I have an idea. Can we combine ideas? Because we talked yesterday about how we sneak into events. So I was thinking about this because I told Chris about the fact that Pardon My Take is going to be selling cheesesteaks. Well, not them.
I need a
whoever
food
it
item.
is that's going to be. I am assuming that there will be employees that are there, and you pay the employees, and they give you they're not going to be cooking the cheese. You understand how? it
No,
works.
they won't be.
So anyway, I think. And I was thinking this, I told Chris, and I felt his jealousy in this situation that he wants to have a stand that sells food. So if we can kind of go back in the time machine to yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about the perfect way, Greg, to sneak into any event. And we were saying that if you have a ladder and kind of like a working vest, you could probably get into anywhere. So I feel like maybe this is a perfect combination to do a combo where Chris sneaks into a stadium. Now, following him with a camera makes it difficult, granted. So maybe we can get him to sneak into a stadium.
How about a GoPro where we're just getting it from his vantage point?
Just a GoPro on my forehead. That'll.
That's not
Well, I would say it could be hidden on a lapel or something. I'm not saying that you have to wear it like a
GoPros are
scuba.
Like a miner?
I
Like
don't
a
think it needs to be
miner?
like
Do
a
the
scuba
headlines.
mask. I think you could carry a ladder, a vest, and
Wear like
perhaps
a snowboarding helmet,
a
yeah.
discreet camera of some sort.
You have him wearing a lapel? I mean,
on the vest, on the
With the
vest.
ladder.
A secret camera where he's doing his own camera
With
work.
a ladder.
So
he's-
yeah, use that to sneak in, and then maybe
So
sell
once I'm
food.
in, what am I doing?
But
sell
what's the
food.
name of the food?
I have to sneak in food too?
Well, yeah, you said you want a food product.
What
What
should
are
I
you
do?
selling?
To put a stand up?
Yeah. Set up a stand,
Like a-
sneak in with your ladder.
Peanut butter and jelly? Like, what are we doing here?
Ooh, yeah.
Like out of a cooler?
PB&J.
So I roll in with a cooler.
But how
That'll-
about something with your name on
Yeah,
it? Pardon
that's the thing.
Pardon My Cheesesteak is a funny name.
peanut butter and belly? Just spitballing.
Mm.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
The executive producer role he's auditioning for remains open, being attacked from every angle by everybody in the company.
Peanut butter and belly's pretty good. I don't know, Dan.
But Roy's Bellamy, and he goes by Belly sometimes, so it's confusing.
He always goes
Roy,
by
by the
Belly,
way, and I
always.
don't want to be out here snitching. To my understanding, because we were there for some time, we shot some stuff. Me and Mike
Did he
Fuentes.
post anything?
Huh? Yeah, we posted some
Did
stuff.
Roy? My point is, I could see Roy going to this thing, eating all the free food, and not putting any of it on
Well,
social
You
media.
No.
you could be peanut butter. He could be belly. You could both be carrying the ladder into the place.
Well, no. So, I got a text when I was at home. This started at 3. I got a text at 5:40 from Roy saying, I just got here. There's only water left. I go, Roy, buddy, this event was 2 hours and 40 minutes ago. He's like, yeah, I talked to someone. They said the food's already gone. The clubhouse was open, but everyone was gone. I'm like, you walking around an empty stadium, friend? They had a scrimmage going on. Maybe they're on the field now. What's happening here?
Roy also applying for the executive producer job.
In Roy's defense, he was doing Moco yesterday, so things ran a little late. But at that point, I mean, I had been getting there at 3:15 because of traffic, and I was like, man, I'm showing up, 15 minutes late than they told
No,
me to
Billy,
get
you're on
there.
time at that point.
But when people are showing up 2 hours and 40 minutes late, then I don't feel as bad.
Your dad's mad, Chris.
He's definitely mad.
I'm not mad.
This is a passing thing. I feel like that's not gonna be passing. You know what I mean? This is gonna be some. Resentment.
Not
that they should
passing
hear
anytime
loser
soon.
games
You're
that
both
sound.
making
Yeah.
the joke. It's a terrible joke, and Chris Cody's still fumbling around with the computer. Billy, come help him out here. Yes.
Get off my plane.
Okay, that's not the sound.
Excellent.
Greg, I wanted to pitch you a back in my day,
Sure.
but I didn't because one time I did and you didn't like it, and I felt shunned. So
Really? Which was that I didn't like? I don't recall.
I don't remember what it was, but I sent Chris a tweet about it, and I had no explanation as to why it is that I sent him this tweet, so I'm sure he was wondering what it was. And it was for this gizmo, a contraption, if you will, that you use to hang a picture on the wall, to hang a frame.
Yeah.
And it's this giant, elaborate, plastic T-shaped thing. And then you put it where it is that you want the picture frame to be.
Right.
And then you kind of push in a lever or something, and it pokes a little hole in the wall. And then that's a guide for you to then go and kind of do a drill or a nail or whatever, and then you hang it perfectly exactly where you want it.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've seen that. I've seen other people that will then go and they'll get like a piece of like that blue painter's tape, and they'll put that tape along the back of the thing, the back of the frame or whatever.
Right.
And then they just do like the little dots on the tape, dots on the wall, and then they retape it on it. And then it's like, it's basically hanging frames for dummies.
Right.
And I wanted to pitch you on the idea of having to earn hanging a frame or have to earn hanging something. Like all these new cheat codes and gadgets and gizmos that exist now, you didn't used to do that. You used to just go nail and hammer right into the wall, hope you don't hit a pipe. That's
Right.
another thing. Those whole stud finder situations before was guesswork. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just had to go and find the beam by knocking on the wood as hard as you
Exactly.
can. Knock on the drywall. Just give it one of
Right.
those until you find the beam. Hope you don't hit a pipe, and then you go on with the rest of your lives. That was hanging back in the day.
That's a very good. I actually like that because Wild Bill, you taught me how to knock on a wall to identify where the beams were.
Is there any reason you don't have a back in my day today?
It's a quality control week.
Yeah.
I think I've had them a couple
QC.
weeks in a row.
But you actually you just
QCW.
said that you have one that you're happy with.
I have it's for next week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really really good.
Staying ahead of the game.
Load
Yeah.
management?
Yeah.
Yeah, quality control.
Yeah.
And, when the Dolphins have a practice and sometimes a veteran player has a day off, and they will say, instead of an injury, they'll say, Taron Armstead off / veteran rest. So in effect, it's a veteran rest week for back in my day. But the one I have next week, I'm truly excited about. I'm looking forward to research and writing that.
This is like that time, Dan, if you've noticed what's going on. Baseball season's right about to start. I know everyone's really excited. Opening day is later this week. And now, like, if you've noticed, there's like teams are like kind of back at their homes, or they're slowly getting there. They're kind of like just doing like walk-through thing. No one's trying to get hurt. That's where Greg is this week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to get hurt right before the start of a new season.
That's exactly right. Billy reads me. He knows me.
We will be
He gets me.
talking some baseball this week because this is the week around here where opening day still means something nostalgic, majestic. Brockmeyer is going to return after a way too long absence, and we got you ready yesterday with a viral video. The internet was excited, Stugotz, because we're spending a lot of time talking about real horseshit officiating. Like the talent level and the skill level in sports has gotten really sophisticated. Baseball with the shifts and the all or nothing, the scientific evolution of the athlete where everyone's throwing 100 miles an hour and everyone's hitting 450-foot bombs, and the umpire's still Angel Hernandez. And the umpires and the officials are not expected to be as good as the players, and they're not as good as the players. And in basketball, they're flying from the ceiling, and basketball refs can't officiate correctly.
Disagree.
Okay.
I think the officials are better than the players, because in a baseball player, you only need to succeed 3 out of 10 times, and you're a Hall of Famer. An MLB umpire, if you're like at 85%, you're considered a terrible umpire.
It's interesting that you only choose the hitter's perspective there, because the pitchers are succeeding at a much better rate than 3 out of 10 times.
7 out of 10, I guess.
And Angel Hernandez is not succeeding 7 out of 10 times.
Officiating's hard, though. You would agree,
Seems like
right?
a horrible job that you shouldn't want, because you can only fail. Like you only get you only get any sort of criticism or whatever when you miss a call. No one ever praises you for hitting. Like if one gets the corner, one's right on the black, you never get. You know what? That umpire had a great game yesterday. Great call. You never get that.
Totally correct. I would say that it is hard to officiate, especially today's athletes. I would say it's substantively harder to do so in football and basketball and hockey, where everything's moving very fast, as opposed to baseball, where it's not.
Well,
And-
no, Dan, it's moving too fast now. We can get into that,
Well,
later.
yes,
but
it
also
is.
the ball's moving up and down, side to side. How about just like a straight ball right down the middle? What happened to that?
Okay, we can
You know what I mean?
replace them most with robots in baseball. And what you don't need, the place that I was headed with this, because a robot would not do what an umpire did to JT Realmuto yesterday, unless there was a glitch in the system. Like a robot, unless artificial intelligence had short-circuited and got enraged at a catcher, because what happened yesterday, if you did not see this video, Stugotz, have all of you seen this? Because JT Realmuto, and I don't know what preceded this. I don't know what the context is, but he just held up his glove to grab the ball from the umpire, a fresh ball from the umpire, and then because he had his back to the ump, he just moved his glove down for a second, and the ump missed putting the ball in his glove, and then was so embarrassed by that he took it as a sign of disrespect and then ejected one of the best catcher in the National League. ejected a guy, and now it's not a real game. It's a spring training game, but that is a guy.
He did him a favor, honestly.
Yes, honestly, yes. The heat, the equipment, he did do. What a great favor. Yes, both of them could improve their brands here because Realmuto looks genuinely confused by why did I just get ejected there? I was just trying to take the ball from you the way that I always do.
It seems like JT's playing a little game of cat and mouse though with the umpire. He was trying to get ejected.
No, well,
the glove's there. The ump puts the ball there.
Well,
he didn't feel the ball. He moves the glove before he gets the ball.
So my understanding of what happened is prior to that, the umpire had just been throwing the ball straight back to the pitcher. So JT, I guess maybe out of instinct, reached back for the umpire to hand him the ball. And since the umpire had been throwing the ball directly to the pitcher, puts down his glove, then the umpire went to give him the ball. And that's kind of where that confusion was. I'd think JT, if he's been ejected from one game in his career, might be high. So it's not characteristic of JT to go after an umpire.
He's kind of maximum professional, isn't he?
He's the most mild-mannered guy I've met in baseball. Like, he has no emotions. He just... look at me, Louie. It's fair.
Oh, sorry.
All right.
He's not even yelling at the ump.
You're
He's
right.
having an adult conversation.
You're right. No.
Turn around
Look at me, Louie.
what happened?
Billy, I'm going to need some help here, okay? Because Chris
I'm
Cote is
trying,
moving
man.
a little too slow, and you whispering while covering your mouth to Chris Cote, look at me, Louie, when we can all hear you except for him. I'm going to need you. If you're going to puppeteer like
He's
that,
an evil cat.
you need to do it, well, I mean, or you can move faster.
I'm a helpful cat.
We've moved on now. Bishop to Rook 9. He admits he's a cat.
Go sit in the penalty box.
Oh, boy.
But
Tony.
What?
But to your point on this,
I don't want Chet. Look at how happy he is.
2 minutes for talking chess.
Look, he just checkmated you.
Yeah.
He checkmated you, and he's so happy about checkmating you because he lives to undermine. You got to go sit in there. Don't yell at me.
Bishop to Rook 10.
Just because you got tricked by Billy, and Billy enjoyed tricking you.
I didn't get tricked.
Get out of here.
But to your guys' point on this JT Realmuto thing, he does seem to be smirking in this video to
Totally.
the umpire, as
Yes.
if there was a little something like, "Hey, can you help me out here?
All right,
I got plans."
give me the context. Is Stugotz right, even though he doesn't know whether he's using cat and mouse game correctly?
No idea.
Is Stugotz correct with no information, no reporting, no context that JT Realmuto did that on purpose to embarrass an umpire who immediately like if you have not seen this, let me explain something to you because it is laughable in how much ego there is here. And Realmuto looks like a great actor afterward because he seems genuinely confused. But Realmuto has his back.
But not angry.
Not
Yes.
angry.
Preseason.
Has his back to the umpire, holds out his glove, and then the umpire turns around immediately as the ball hits the ground, turns his back to a Realmuto who is not looking. Now they're back to back. They're back to back, and the umpire's saying, "You get out of the game," even though the only one who can't see that in the world is Realmuto because he's the only one with his back to the umpire.
He threw him out before the ball hit the ground.
But he's asking for the ball. I don't know how it works with a catcher's mitt, but I'm assuming you feel it when the ball hits the glove, right?
Yes.
I mean, JT knows he didn't get the ball
No,
yet.
he gave up on waiting for it.
He
So he
pulled
put
it
his
away
hand
like
down.
That's
Yeah.
disrespectful.
That was orchestrated. That whole thing
Okay.
was
Orchestrated.
orchestrated.
No, it was not.
They
The
planned
two
it.
of them were in cahoots.
Really?
No,
I
because-
guarantee it.
You know how I know that's not the
Guarantee
case?
it.
Is
You
'cause
guarantee it.
I guarantee
You
it.
can tell on this umpire's face.
Bank it.
I've seen this look on my dad, where my dad, I do
And
something,
you know it.
I say something to my dad, and his reaction is just over the top ridiculous, and then he quickly realizes, oh, I overreacted to that. So in this umpire's face, you can see he ejects him, he turns around, Realmuto explains what happened, and he has a moment of, oh crap! But I can't turn my.
You
I
can't
realize
undo an ejection.
He
Well,
has
this
his
is
hands
what would never happen with a robot. You are so right about this. I want you guys to imagine. I want you to imagine putting down the male umpiring ego, and him just turning around and realizing, oh no, I immediately got this wrong. I take it back.
Right.
But he had
that's
to
not
double
fun.
down on the ejection.
He's just like, I'm looking at you. I'm wrong, but I can't switch
Fists
it.
on hips.
Yes.
I cannot overturn this. I've already made a fool of myself.
Can I be honest with you? This is one because you're saying that this would not happen with robots. I 100% agree. And by the way, it's one of my things in the column. And I'm not like an anti-replay guy, but if I was, this would be at the top of the list. I miss the manager running out and running things amok. You know what I mean? I miss them
best.
going out there, kicking dirt on home plate, throwing bases, doing all kinds of things. And you can't do that with replay anymore.
Now all you
can't
get is
even-
this.
Yeah, you can't
You
even
get
go
this
out
from the
there.
dugout.
You can't even go out there and talk to the umpire anymore because you get ejected immediately. So we've lost some of the gravitas, the performance of being a manager. That was the thing, Dan. Back in the day, because we always talk about how important is a manager in baseball. They really just make pitching changes, right? Back in the day, it was a performance.
Do you want to
needed
do
a
back in my day
showman.
here? I think
Yeah,
you are now an old man. You're now an old baseball man. If you could do it back in the day, an umpire could go out. Lou Piniella could go out and throw a base into center field.
That was, I don't know this for a
Sweet
fact.
Lou.
You guys could tell me more than you've covered sports longer than I have. I feel like back in the day, part of being an interview process for being a manager was show us what you do if something doesn't go your way.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Earl
managers were
Weaver.
hired on that fact.
Earl Weaver
Yeah.
kicking dirt on the plate. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
Bring back Earl Weaver.
Juju, put on the poll at LeBatard Show. Do you miss the enraged manager running out on the field as an adult and making a fool of himself?
It's sad now. All you get is the manager in the dugout holding up play. We're checking this.
Yeah.
It's like, no, go out there and yell at him.
I want to see some personality. I'm with you guys. Yeah.
There's nothing
Part of the
stopping,
game.
There's nothing stopping them from going out there and while they're seeing if they want to challenge, go argue the call.
Once we move to robot umps, are there going to be no more people getting tossed out of games? Because the robot's not going to be able to have that jurisdiction.
You're
of,
out of
getting,
here.
Get out of here.
What if you just go unplug the robot?
Ooh.
As if there's an extension cord.
The ultimate sign of disrespect. Is that murder?
And would the punishment, if you punch a robot in the face, is that punished worse than if you did it to a human?
You might
umpire?
hurt your hand.
Yeah, you'd hurt your hand.
What do you mean? Why would
Dangerous
what?
game.
What are
Yeah.
you talking
I'm
about?
it would
one
be
of them's
punished
assault.
less.
One of them's just breaking equipment.
Right. That's
They're
my
made out of
point. Is
metal.
that we would see more players punching because it's like I can't punch Angel Hernandez. I can't punch Angel Hernandez because that will lead SportsCenter for 5 days. Well, who's going to feel bad for a robot where if this is a bad call,
Realmuto would have been within his rights to disassemble a robot umpire that did that.
He honestly should send him a fruit platter. So I'm like, thank God you took me out of the heat for the day.
Chris, I'm a little frightened of your father's judgment. He has just told me during the break that he has a chant that he believes can get off the ground and be something that supports at the Final Four enthusiasm. Is it for Miami? Is it FAU chant? What kind of chant of support is this that you believe will echo from sea to shining sea?
I think this is a chant that's going to take off nationally. It's an FAU chant. The Owls were foul owls on the prowl. We're proud. We're loud. And here's the thing. Okay, FAU 9 seed. They're the interloper in this Final Four, right? 90% of the country is saying FAU. What? So here's the chant. Are you ready? Are you ready, Ron?
Yes, we're all ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a very big
I can't
build-up.
wait.
Yes,
I
everyone,
can't wait.
We might not be ready for
I'm not. Hold on.
I'm speaking to the rest of the country. You say who? We say hoot. You say who? We say hoot. You say who? We say hoot. You say who?
Come on, Ron.
We say hoot.
Hey, hoot!
Thank you.
That's
right.
That's the way it goes.
What are you doing?
He's doing an owl.
He's doing an actual owl.
He's doing an actual
That's the actual
owl
owl.
sound, a better owl sound
Okay.
than you say who, we say hoot.
Thank you.
Billy, I don't
It's
like
got a shock, Greg.
how
It
much
does.
you're
Thank
Now
you.
do a
enjoying.
hurricane sound.
You're
Ron.
enjoying how
Yeah.
terrible this is.
It's a
I
great
don't
one.
think it's going to get off the ground.
No, it will. It already has.
Also not
Trending
getting
on
before
Twitter.
we get to Ron Magill here, also not getting off the ground, it would appear, is Chris Cote and you, FAU royalty, actually being on the bench or around the bench supporting. You're going to Houston. Both of you are
All
going.
you little birds better lock up tight.
'Cause there's a foul owl
on the prowl tonight. Yeah! What a great song. Wow. Continue it. It's great.
That's all we have.
Oh, that's all you got. Okay.
You would have known that if you'd been at the meeting.
Yeah, here we
Little
go.
Mark, get out of the dark. Foul owl on the prowl.
It's great. My favorite song ever.
Makes you sway your head side to side.
It does.
It really
yeah,
does.
It's a
Yeah.
great country. It was a
Yeah.
big country hit in the 50s, I think. I have a question for Ron. If
But the Greg
if I
Cote
should
show is
start.
going to Houston.
It's true. The Greg Cote show is going to Houston. We're paying, somebody's paying, quote unquote, for
You all right?
Christopher and I to go to Houston.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, sheets and giggles. If I'm being honest, is
Well, what's happened here, Ron? We'll get to you in a second. Forgive me for delaying the show. You have stolen.
We're sleeping with your ex.
You have stolen Sheets and Giggles as a sponsor from us, correct? The Stugotz is strong in you.
I think Sheets and Giggles dumped you more than we stole them, and we were awaiting. We were waiting. We come cheap. You know, we don't charge the big bucks like the LeBatard Show. The Greg Cote Show is an economical get, and we treat you like gold when you come over there. And we've treated Sheets and Giggles like gold. They're throwing a couple of doubloons back at us, sending us to Houston. We're gonna have a great time.
And they make great sheets, man. I got to tell you, those are the most comfortable freaking sheets I've ever slept on.
Hello, and you know it. You know,
Baby.
Ron, I think you should steal as a sponsor for the zoo Sheets and Giggles from the Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote.
With.
Yeah,
Fine.
the
Greg,
joke
you
there.
owe 5, Dan too.
Greg, go sit in the penalty box for 5 minutes.
New
Oh,
episode
geez,
drop.
5-minute major.
5 minutes.
Right.
5
me?
minutes. Yes.
Oh, I had such a beautiful question for Ron.
More like hoot
What a
me.
shame.
Yeah. Who?
Hoot?
Hoot? Go sit in the. Go ahead and ask your question and then get out. Go ahead
Okay.
and ask it.
And leave $5.
And
Ron-
leave $5.
All right, I don't have 5.
Leave $6.
I'll sell you the money.
Okay.
Hey, Ron.
Just Venmo us.
The owl in FAU Owls is the burrowing owl, which is a very small owl, but I think of all owls as being mean and ornery. What can you tell us about the burrowing owl?
Oh, it's of course a terrestrial owl. It's not a big flyer except when it's hunting. They tend to be underground as opposed to most other owls that are more arboreal. Owls in general, though, and I know that you're not going to want to hear this, but generally speaking, we always hear about the wise old owl. I've talked to this about before. They have very large eyes. Those eyes are so large they take up so much space in the skull. There's very little space for the brain. So they're not the most intelligent bird. Actually, they're one of the least intelligent of all birds. Having said that, they are nocturnal. They have incredible eyesight. If you had the eyes of an owl, you could read a newspaper 100 yards away, to give you an idea of how
That can't be true. That can't be true.
No one
Still
reads
wouldn't read it.
newspapers.
Yeah.
How could anyone have
That's una
tested
muela.
How could anyone have tested that, Ron?
They test the fovea of the eye. They taste the what do they call the rods in the eye.
eyes.
The eye people who know more than I do about eyes tell me that's the case. That's what they can focus on. They've tested that. They also have incredible hearing. Now, I've done this test myself at the University of Florida, where we took an owl, we covered its ears so it could not hear anything, covered its eyes rather, so it could not see anything, released a mouse in a pitch black room, and that owl flew from 30 yards away and landed right on that mouse just from hearing the mouse. So it's flipping unbelievable, the kind of hearing they have. Now, keep in mind, their ears are different than ours. We've got, one ear on each side of our head kind of parallel to each other, but owls have one ear on the top part on the left side and on the bottom part on the right side. So they're able to triangulate sound better than we can, and that's how they can find their prey using sound alone. So they're incredible birds that way. And they have very specialized feathers in their wings. So when they flap their wings, they make no sound. They have silencer feathers in their wings. So when they're flying, a mouse is eating on the ground, and all of a sudden, if you're a chicken, you flap, 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 the mouse is going to go, incoming, I'm out of here. But with the owl, it's like the stealth bomber. They're unbelievable that way.
What is the quietest of the animals as a hunter?
It's got to be the owl.
Really?
Absolutely the quietest. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen huge owls, big great horned owls fly across a room, and I cannot hear. And I'm listening for them, and you cannot hear a single thing. It's absolutely silent. Special feathers in their wing.
I've got a number of questions here, not just about the owl, but I would like for you to put together for me, and I know this is putting you on the spot, but you're good at this, a reverse order 5-to-1 top 5 senses, most amazing senses of the animals, because you're perpetually amazed by this. I'm amazed by just my dog. My dog out in front of me is a rescue and such a scavenger. He can smell things so much quicker than I can see them. And so sometimes when I'm walking him, he finds things that are far away before I've seen them, and he ends up eating it and I can't get it out of his mouth. And I'm sure you have 5 good ones.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at a polar bear.
Well, hold on
what do you
a
want to
second.
say, Billy? What do you want to say, Billy? I see you raising your hand back there like a little kid in the classroom.
Well, no, yeah, because that's what you do, and I raised my hand.
Yeah.
So just to clarify the list, so that because there's only 5 senses, so these can be repeated senses. So like the sense of smell can be on there twice for different animals, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm not going to try to. I'm going to try to cover every sense and tell you my top animal.
Oh,
for
I
that
like
sense.
that.
You were saying about the polar bear, Ron.
Polar bear.
Is
The
that
polar
number
bear sense
5?
of smell.
Is that number 5?
I'm talking about the sense of smell. Okay, right now, polar bear. Sense of smell is unflipping believable. A polar bear can smell a seal 5 miles away. 5 miles away. Now you're all looking. I see you shaking your head. Una muela, all that stuff Tony was saying, all that stuff. Yeah, I got it. Okay, but I'm telling you, they can do it. Okay, they can do it. If you look at the nasal bones, the turbinate bones in the nose of a polar bear, it looks like this tiny little holes everywhere. There's all these little funky bones. There's so much surface area that they can pick up smell. As opposed to you look at a human skull, they have hardly any turbinate bones, and we think we can smell. We can't do anything compared to a polar bear. Okay. The sense of touch. Think about things. How animals use their sense of touch for different things. Look at raccoons. Raccoons use their sense of touch for food. They can feel things in holes. They can pretty much determine anything with their sense of touch. Their sense of touch is incredibly important to them. Okay, sense of sight. We're going to go to any bird of prey. Whether you talk about an owl, you talk about an eagle, you talk about an animal that can read a newspaper 100 yards away, even though Tony says it's a muela. It's not. They can do it. Or if they could read, assuming they can read. That, that's a big assumption, of course. You're taking a stretch there. But the bottom line is they can make the details out of those little letters on a newspaper from 100 yards away. They have an eagle can spot a mouse from almost half a mile in the air. Spot a mouse in the grass.
Impossible.
Come on, guys. This is unbelievable stuff. Okay. Now, the taste, I don't know about the taste. I don't know what's going to have the taste type thing going on there. So I don't know.
You could pick another one of the senses and double up on another one of the senses if you need to adhere to the rigidities of the top 5.
Yeah,
then I'm going to go with hearing. I'm going to go with hearing.
Okay.
Let's go with the bats. I mean, what bats can do with their hearing is unbelievable. Echolocation. They're making the sound and they can bounce it back. And their ears, look at the close-ups of bats. Look at the shapes and sizes of their ears. They look like aliens, man. It's unbelievable. And the way they can move it back and forth, they're like big radar dishes. That is freaking unbelievable when you look at what a bat can do with its hearing. So we got hearing, we got smell, we got sight, we got touch. The fifth one. What's the fifth one?
No, you already said taste is not useful here. So go ahead to one of the. Right. What is second most amazing on any of those that you're just?
Well, it's going to be smell, and it's going to be you look at some of these dogs that can smell cancer in a person. Think about this, guys. They can.
Why
Stop
aren't they
it, Chris.
doctors?
Why are you saying that?
No,
it's not
dude,
impossible.
I'm just amazed. I'm not questioning. I didn't know that.
Okay.
I just didn't know that.
They should be doctors.
They have proven that there are dogs that can smell ovarian cancer in a person before it's even determined.
What?
Okay. Before it's even diagnosed medically, they can smell ovarian cancer. This is unbelievable stuff, guys. Animals can save our lives if we just give them the credit and the opportunity.
So how would a dog respond or react if they smelled cancer? Like, what would be the sign?
The way they teach them is they teach them to alert. And the way they alert is they just sit. They would walk. Let's say you put, 5 women in a row. One has already been diagnosed or one has the ovarian cancer. The dog will walk by all 5 women. When it gets to the woman who has cancer, he sits right in front of her. That's his alert saying she's got it.
How do they teach? I saw a currency dog. Evidently, there's a lot of money going from Miami to Los Angeles now. I did not know that there were currency dogs. I thought they were searching for drugs. How do they teach a dog to have the sense of smell necessary so that they could discover things like cancer or money?
Well, what they do is they'll take things like cancer cells. We're going to do a stream of cancer, okay? And they'll put it with other objects, and they wait for the dog to smell, and they reward the dog for smelling the cancer. So the dog's not saying, hey, I smell cancer, you need to take care of this person. The dog is doing something because it knows it's going to get rewarded for it. It's called bridging. We bridge when we teach animals to do things. When we see a behavior that we find favorable, we reward the animal. So what they'll do is they'll put money, let's say, put money in one bag and all the other bags have nothing. When the dog goes to the money, he gets rewarded. That's called a bridge. Right away, say, okay, you're gonna have money. Boom. So then the dog learns, hey, when I go to the money, I get rewarded. And then you just reinforce that behavior. You keep causing different bridges to connect the animal to whatever you're trying to teach it. So the animal's not saying, I'm a specialist in smelling cancer. No. Or I'm a specialist in smelling drugs. No. We teach a dog that has an incredible sense of smell to pinpoint that one thing. That becomes a drug specialist dog. He's been rewarded. Like, we wouldn't have a dog doing drugs and cancer at the same time because then the dog's confused. So we teach the dog, this is what your specialty is. As soon as you determine that this is that, you will get rewarded. And that's how it works.
Ron, good seeing you. A reminder to the audience that has always been very strong. No bureaucracy when it comes to Ron Magill's substantive endowment. If you want to help the animals, he is doing it. You can search on the internet. It's easy to find if you want to support the things that Ron is supporting. The love for the animals is real. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. Take care. Tony, missing you on the court, brother.
Likewise.
Take care.